In the previous session, we learnt about grouping function, which helps us in identify which is the subtotal, which is the grand total, and which is the actual group by row. So now we'll be learning about grouping ID function. Okay, this is another function which is alternative way and more compact way to identify the subtotal rows. Okay, in the previous session, whenever we use the grouping function, if there are two columns in the group by clause, we had to create two flags, and if there are 10 group by columns, we need to create 10 flag columns to identify which is the subtotal, right? Instead of that, if we use the grouping ID function, the number of group by columns doesn't matter. All those columns can be given to the grouping ID function to display the flag value. Okay, the syntax is grouping ID and the list of all the group by columns. Here I am grouping by trunk of sales date comma month, which is our sales month, and product name. So I pass those two columns as the parameters for this grouping ID function. Okay, and now you see how the output is displayed. So a flag ID of 0 means it is the actual subtotal which is expected out of the group by operation. Okay, a flag ID of 1 indicates that it is the subtotal of the sales month. A flag ID of 2 means it is a subtotal of the product name, and the flag ID of 3 means it is a grand total, right? Yes, like this, using the flag ID you can identify which is a subtotal of the column 1, which is a subtotal of the column 2, or it is a grand total. Or suppose example, you have a third group by function, then automatically the flag ID will be 3 for the third column and 4 for the grand total, right? Like this, whenever you are sending data to a third-party application, using the group ID function will facilitate the application read the values and understand what the subtotals are meant for. Okay, now let's take a look at the grouping ID function. Okay, in the previous session we used the grouping function, right? So let me delete one of the columns. Okay, and let me change this. So instead of grouping, I'll just call it as grouping underscore ID, and here I'll mention product underscore name. That's it. Simple, right? Okay, and let me run this. That's it. You see, flag 1 0, that means it is the total of the actual group by expression. Flag of 1, that means it is a subtotal of sales month. 1 subtotal of sales month. Now 2, it's a subtotal of the product name. Wherever you see 2 in the flag 1 column, it is subtotal of the product name, and whenever you see 3, that is the grand total. Okay,